Hey, coming up today, what I learned from 100 mornings of accountability. Showing up here on the morning show, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Myself, Keith Bilous, John Anderson, see Marty Fit right now. Get out of bed. Let's go live. Welcome to Mornings in the Lab, where excuse
when something negative comes up.
Building muscle through blood flow.
Nobody is expecting, John.
If the lady's saying that, you're be
entertained by fun over here.
How by slap? Like my sleep been good. That is.
There we go. We're back, baby. We're back. It is the next day in the loop. You got Keith Bilous over here. You got Johnny over there. You got Marty over there. Yeah, you got producer Jimmy on the buttons. Good morning, Jimmy. You got producer Tommy, who's over in the Mornings in the Lab community, interacting with all of you. Hey, we're 17 away from 1,000. Come and follow our channel, the LinkedIn channel on Mornings in the Lab, your own LinkedIn platform. Hey, this is the only morning show to get your ass out of bed, guys. We drop some F-bombs, B-bombs, S-bombs, every kind of swear in the book. So if you don't want your kids to hear the kind of language we're going to drop in the show, I would invite you to walk them out of the room. Or I'd invite you to put some headphones on to introduce them to the sultry sounds of adult language that we drop here on the morning show. Hey, coming up this morning in the lab, we got a big show today. What I learned from 100 Mornings of Accountability. We got a conversation about scientists are revealing that human penises are getting bigger. Yeah, Johnny, Marty. What might not be a good thing. We're going to talk about that this morning. Listen, there's a study that called out some black utensils a while back. I had a major math there. Yeah, 1 + 1 apparently doesn't add up to 5. That's going to come up later today as well. The accountability check-in at 8:16, as well as we got a guest coming up here today, Jeffrey Johnson, turning tragedy into purpose. We know how John talks. We do not let good tragedies go to waste. Jeffrey Johnson's coming in to dig into that. Adam House is here as well this morning, guys. How to turn setbacks into comebacks 2025. Creator Spotlight, bottom of the hour. And we also got, if we got time, we got Mindful here today with AJ Zeglin. Men, ways to calm down fast. Yep, just fast. Woo, bring it down fast. Community Corner coming up later today. Sean Blanc. Like I said, Nation, we've got a massive show here this morning. Yeah. Good morning, Jacob. I see you there in the comments. You got into a real life car crash. I'm sorry to hear that, Jacob. While you're recovering from your car crash, I invite you to subscribe to this channel. We'll help you get moving and get rolling. Jimmy, let's bring in the boys. Let's see what everybody's wearing today. Marty's not in the snowbank, not in the blizzard. Johnny's over there in Cali. I know. I'm just eager to hear how Marty's surviving the snowy conditions of Maryland. What's up, Marty?
I'm good, man. I'm not one of them people that freak out in the snow. You know, I got the 4-wheel drive. You know, that's why I bought a 4-wheel drive car, so it doesn't stop me. So I could do the shit nobody wants to do, like I'm John Anderson. So I had to drive through a freaking blizzard yesterday, but it was cool, man. It's still pretty bad, but
is it? Yeah.
And people just want a reason to sit on their ass and not do anything.
Well, that's exactly it.
Be honest with you.
Yeah. So. Well, listen, I grew up here in Manitoba with snow days. I loved getting up knowing there's a big blizzard and say, oh, the kids get to stay home from school today. So, but I'm suspecting Johnny Anderson has very limited access to snow other than up there in the Tahoe area.
You're too bougie for that.
Yeah,
too bougie for that.
Bougie.
Well, we're actually shopping for a snow cabin up in Big Bear, so we're actually looking for it to be
Let's go.
Keep in mind, it's pretty fucking cool. We can go from the literally nice warm California up into the mountains in Big Bear in 90 minutes, and you can be in snow. It's pretty fucking cool.
That's
pretty cool. Yeah.
That's pretty slick.
And then because we're over in Palm, then you can go the other way, and you can be at the beach in 90 minutes the other way. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Boys, we got a massive show.
Yeah, so we're pursuing the snow, but it's fair weather. We go when we want to. We don't get stuck in it.
Yeah, you drive towards the snow is what you do, don't you?
Well, that's so because where we're buying there's a ski slopes too. So we're really just buying a place where we can go and hang out, have Christmases, in the snow, and basically teach the grandkids how to ski and snowboard.
That's it. Has Terry spent a lot of time in the snow?
Yeah, she loves snowboarding. She loves it. Yeah.
Oh, was that right?
Our kids all really want their kids to have, I don't want to say access, but I mean, because they have access, but they want them to actually be a little bit more in it. There's a difference between, going to the snow once or twice a year versus having a place there where you could spend a week there and actually live in it, especially
Absolutely.
on the slopes.
Yes. Yeah. Jimmy, I'm getting us up on Substack there, brother. Thanks for the prompt. We're streaming, hey Nation, we're streaming here live on YouTube, LinkedIn, X, Substack, all over the planet. The only morning show to get your ass out of bed, gentlemen. We go live here Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time. I'm Keith Bilous. That's John Anderson. See Marty Fit over there. Producer Jimmy's on the buttons. Boys, scientists are saying the average penis size has increased 24%, Marty, over the past 30 years. But Johnny, here's the kicker. It might be because of chemical exposure messing with our hormones, and that's not exactly good news. And think about this. Well, some
I guess it just depends on how important getting your dick bigger is.
well, here's the thing. While some might not see the increase as such a bad thing, the lead researcher in this article pointed out that it's likely tied to environmental factors like pesticides and hygiene products disrupting our hormonal systems. But here's where it's interesting, boys. These same chemicals are also linked to declining sperm counts and even earlier puberty in boys and girls, which raises the big question, what else in our bodies is being affected by these changes? And Johnny, we've had this conversation over time and time again.
Brother. Right? You want to open this can of worms, baby.
I know.
I'll just leave it with, you don't want to cut me loose on this one. I'll just say this. Why is it that the Food and Drug Administration are the same fucking committee? Because
right.
The food people put all this fucked up shit in the food. They know what sicknesses are coming. So they tell the drug administration, get this shit ready. And they just, the crappy food makes us sick, and they're waiting with the fucking medication on the other side.
That's it.
Look at this late night TV. They can actually advertise this shit now. And then you got some guy at the end reading a mile a minute. And he's basically saying, look, this will fucking kill you. So consult your doctor.
Yeah. Good morning, Adam. I see you there in the comments, brother. Thanks for checking in here this morning. We got you checked into the show there. Adam Holroyd joining us from, I think, Adam, you're in New Zealand. Hey, brother. Good to have you here this morning. I appreciate you joining in, checking into the show here. Marty, the results were made up of 55,761 men. And after
that's a lot of dudes.
That's a lot of dudes. And after adjusting for geographic region, subject age, and subject population, erect penile length increased 24% over the last 29 years. Here's the thing, boys. In terms of numbers, now, gentlemen, pull out the tape measures. Here we go. Here's the warning. Jimmy, get the tape measure out. Hold on, Johnny. Hold on. Here, hold on. In terms of numbers, the average erect penis size has increased from, here we go, Jimmy, 4.8 inches to 6 inches over the past 30 years. Boys?
Well, check this out. So let's look at say high school football players today.
Yeah.
And let's look at high school football players 25 years ago. Jesus Christ, when I was playing football, there was rarely kids over 200-pound fucking players were monsters.
Yes.
Now you got fucking, Jesus Christ, that's a small running back. So the people have gotten bigger. So you figure if the people have gotten bigger and their dicks haven't, that would be a tragedy. So I think maybe there's just a whole overall growth that's going on here. They probably got a bigger scrotum and bigger nuts too. Hands are probably bigger, the whole fucking kit and caboodle.
They're like T-Rex humans, Johnny. These big bodies, little peckers. Ding, 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 ding. It's like tick, 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 tick. Marty, what is your point of view as the young buck on the panel here this morning?
Yeah, I don't know. My generation, we don't talk about other guys' penises too much, but I'm right there with Johnny. You look at kids are even taller now.
Yes,
you know, a lot of my high school
bigger creatures, flat out, man.
Yeah, a lot of my high school kids that I trained, you know, boys and girls, you know, they're like my height, taller, you know, and young. So, you know, I've trained one girl. She's 10 years old. She's almost my height. You know, so just, and I know we're not talking about women right now, but I'm just saying in general, kids are getting bigger. So Johnny's point makes a lot of sense, actually.
I think the fact of the matter is,
listen to this. I just helped a kid get a scholarship to Texas.
Oh yeah,
and I started with him when he was 15, obviously, because you know you get, if you're good, you get your deal when you're a junior. You know what I mean? You're pretty much, the whole thing happens when you're a junior.
Yeah,
15 years old. 6'5", came to me when he was about 330, 335.
That's crazy.
He needed to didn't want to lose weight. He just needed to be a better 335. 15 years old. Are you fucking kidding me?
Jesus, Murphy.
Yeah, 15 years old. And the fucking kid was just a plow. You get in front of him and he was rooting you out of there, dude. He was a straight up brood hog. Just a brood hog, man, in a good way.
You know what I love about this, Marty, is that Johnny had another young buck on the show here a couple months back here who he trained. You did a 100-pound tournament. Yeah, Alex. Yeah. So I like these stories, man. You get these young bucks, these high school, college dudes that are like, hey, Anderson's going to help me achieve greatness. That's pretty fucking cool,
the
man.
The funny thing with Alex was I had to help him put 100 pounds on.
Yeah.
I had to help him take that same 100 pounds back off.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable. Hey, boys, changing gears here. A couple weeks ago, there was good morning, Scott. I see you there in the comments. Thanks for tuning in. And Adam, oh, you're a different Adam. Hey, Holroyd, go knock on Flynn's door. Tell Flynn to get her ass in the lab here. I've been knocking on her door too. And like, Flynn, where the fuck are you, man? Flynn came and knocked on my door last Friday. She's dropping content. She's doing some great things. Flynn, we miss you. Come hang out with us on the show. Boys, a couple weeks ago, there was a big headline, and gentlemen, I got this one for you like the barbecue. My boys that love to barbecue, the boys that love to be in the kitchen, my men that loves to do the work for their beautiful wives in the kitchen. There was a big study recently claiming that toxic flame retardants, no, I didn't say the other R word, guys, retardants in black plastic utensils could pose a significant health risk. But guys, the researchers admitted that they made a huge math error. And we're talking huge math error. Originally, they said that the exposure from these utensils, like spatulas, was close to the EPA safe limit. But it turns out that the actual risk is 12 times lower than they reported. And this is what's funny, right, guys, is that you have all these massive headlines and people get all worked up, and then you get on the TikTokers, the Instagrams, and X, they all freaked out by the headlines. And then a couple weeks later, when the new studies come out, nobody pays attention to the new studies, right? So here's the thing. Here's a stat that caught my attention when I read this, guys. Out of the 203 black plastic household products tested, only 14 contained that BDE, the toxic flame retardant. That's about 7%. But here's the twist. When you zoom in on kitchen utensils, 9 out of 109, only 8% were contaminated. So I guess the question is that many of us rushed, me included, to rid the kitchen of the black utensils. The fact of the matter is, it might not be as real as they suggested it was in the study. So guys, just do a little bit of digging before you throw out all your black utensils in the kitchen before you're doing a barbecue here today. So there you go. A little bit of science knowledge for you guys to chew on today.
Hey man, I'm barbecuing. I don't give a second. I'm playing. I don't care about that stuff. I'm barbecuing, man. No, I'm playing.
Right.
This you actually bringing something to my attention. I've never heard this before.
Oh yeah. So it's funny, Marty, because Jeffrey, I see you there on the horizontal. We need to get you on the vertical there, Jeffrey. So I see you in the vertical. Jeffrey, I see you on the horizontal feed. I need to get you on the vertical as well. So if you look in your email there, Jeffrey, there is 2 links. You'll want to open up both tabs so we can get you into both. Well, you know what, Marty? It's funny because I've been seeing these articles, and obviously for our show, I'm just nonstop prep for content for us to talk about. And I saw this article so over the weekend. I was doing some cooking in the kitchen. Yeah, I gave Lauren some time off there, boys. All joking aside, I was making some eggs, and I saw the black things in the kitchen. I was like, wait a minute. I thought I read an article that said we should get rid of this shit. So I pulled them aside, and And next thing you know,
never heard that.
Yeah. Speaking of eggs, Johnny, man, I've just been crushing eggs, brother. I've been fucking crushing eggs since we had our conversation a couple weeks ago. I go upstairs. I got my hard-boiled eggs in the kitchen. I go out there and crack them, grind some Celtic salt on them and just pop them in like fucking candy, man.
Here's what you do, bro. Let me give you a little tip.
Tell me.
So get yourself, couple dozen. Then get yourself buy like a family jar of like pickles, right?
Yeah.
Pickles out and drop all of the. That's just the easy way to do it. If you want to do it yourself, you can make your own pickle juice. But I mean, the simplest way is just to get the pickles out and then drop the eggs inside the pickle juice, and they take on that flavor. It's crazy.
Well, that's quite. I'm quite intrigued by that. When you had a video there where you did that. So you posted content about a beet juice, I think, and you stuck your eggs into the. Yeah,
so it was. I'm trying to remember. I'm at a brain fart. I think there was some apple cider vinegar, some apple cider vinegar. It was onions, and it was some beets. The beets is what created that red, and then there was a bunch of salt. And brother, I'm telling you. Those things are the thing about it is you're just taking something that's really, really nutrient dense and just giving it a different flavor.
Oh, I love it. I just been crushing those eggs and Johnny, Marty, go and grab those handful of almonds. Last night before I went to bed, I was feeling a little bit of little gurgles in my stomach. Johnny went upstairs, just grabbed a couple almonds and threw them in my gut. Washed it down with a little bit of water, and Uncle Keith was in bed by 9 o'clock last night. Yes, 9:03 actually.
Did you put them in your pocket?
Marty, I put them in my robe pocket as I was walking from the kitchen.
There you go.
The pocket is only necessary if you're moving around, if you're traveling, if you're out moving around. That's where the almond. It's silly to put them in your pocket if you're just going to eat them and walk upstairs. That's extra movement.
What? I was curious, Johnny. I had to know.
Well, Johnny, but moving.
Let's just make sure that the concept of the pocket is easy storage.
Yes.
So when you're in a pickle, you rarely get separated from your pants. People say, "I'll put it in my purse. I'll put it in my briefcase." You get separated from that stuff.
That's right.
And I suppose if you're separated from your pants, we can live with that once in a while, whatever's going on. But extra movement. I shouldn't say movement. I should have said it's one more step in the process. The idea is to make it simple and streamlined.
Yes. Well, streamlining things. Jimmy's on my ass. We got to get the show rolling. We got guest after guest, big conversations, big show happening. We're going to kick Johnny out for a break, Marty out for a break. I'm going to do the accountability check-in, and then we're going to come back with Jeffrey Johnson. That's what we're going to do. All right, guys, listen. Drink my coffee. All right. Let's do the glasses off for this one today so we can work on the trust. Yeah. All right. Accountability is a form of self-love. We're the accountability show. I'm all about accountability, all about getting up, get your ass out of bed, and get moving. And listen, and most people hate themselves. They skip commitments, self-abandonment. Every excuse you make, it says, I'm not worth showing up for. But you are. You are worth showing up for. Would you let your kid give up that easily? Of course not. Would you let a friend sabotage their goals? No. But then why do you do it to yourself? Why do you say, I'll start tomorrow? Why I'll start next week? It's time to change that mindset, and here's how. Stop negotiating with yourself. Your future doesn't care how you feel today. Try to put yourself in your future self, and then ask yourself how you feel. Say it out loud. Come on the show. Make the announcement. Make the pronouncement. Make the public statement. Private goals, private accountability, easy to break. You can run from them. You can hide from them. Nobody knows. Track the wins. Accountability is built on proof. We're talking about it today. What I've learned for 100 days showing up. Oh man, I've learned a lot. You're not burned out. You're not overwhelmed. You just don't think you deserve better. Practice that self-love. Listen, accountability it's proof of self-respect. Yeah, true story. It's saying that I'm worth the effort. Yeah, you are worth the effort. Or maybe you're worth the effort. So start treating yourself. Yeah, start treating yourself. You, man. Start treating yourself like someone you love. Do it. You'd be surprised what happens next. That's your accountability check in this morning on Mornings and Alive with Keith and Friends. Coming back up with us here, we have Turning Tragedy into Purpose, How Personal Adversity Fuels Advocacy and Innovation. We got Jeffrey Johnson joining us here today on the show. Honored to welcome a man who turned unimaginable personal loss into a powerful mission to inspire and empower others. From battling his own struggles with addiction and loss to finding the Living Undeterred project and the Brighton app, Jeffrey has made his life's work to champion mental wellness, healthy choices, and purpose-driven living. We're going to dive into that conversation today with Jeffrey Johnson about turning tragedy into purpose, exploring how personal adversity can fuel advocacy, innovation, and a legacy of change. Jeffrey, absolute pleasure for having you here today on the show. Thanks for joining us here today on Mornings in the Lab. What's going on, Jeffrey Johnson?
Hey, Keith. I'm doing great. Can you guys hear me okay?
Can hear you loud and clear. Thanks for hanging out.
All right. I was just wondering what universe I dropped into when we're talking about well-endowed males and a guy smoking a cigar. A guy smoking a cigar at 7:15 in the morning. I'm saying this is where I want to live. This is great.
Yeah,
so let's get that straight, bro. It's 5:15 in the morning here.
Better yet. Cheers.
Right on, brother.
Well, Jeffrey, where are you joining us from this morning, my friend?
Beautiful Cedar Rapids, Iowa. We're four hours west of Chicago. We're about 4 hours from Minneapolis, Omaha, St. Louis, Chicago, right? Flyover country. Perfect. I love it here.
All right, so you're 4 hours from Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada, then, because we're just in the middle of everywhere too. So I think we're exactly. So Jeff, we like to ask a question of every single guest in the center stage segment. The first question to start every conversation. We're very curious. What is Jeffrey Johnson's morning routine?
4:30. I get up, meditate 1 hour in the dark. That's it. Get done with that. I go into an exercise routine of about an hour and a half, elliptical, maybe 5-6 miles, light weights, and then I infrared sauna. No, I don't touch my phone maybe for the first 2 hours of every morning. Then I get into some light coffee, a light breakfast, then I read or write. And then by, 8 o'clock, I've got a pretty good day already done. But I'm like you, I was in bed last night by 9. So I get my 8 hours. I sleep pretty good. But that's my routine. And I have to do that, not because I really want to, because I don't want to ever go back to the abyss, which I was looking into that sinister smile of the abyss a few years back. And I don't ever want to go back to that spot in my closet.
Would you mind taking a few moments and going back to that abyss with us right now this morning, Jeffrey? Because there's a gentleman waking up today. We create content for men. There's a man waking up today who's maybe in the abyss or pondering the abyss or on the edge of the abyss. And they're going, oh man, I'm just going to hit snooze. I'm going to lay in bed. And we're saying, no, get up and get going. Go look in the mirror, practice some self-love, be accountable. Jeffrey, you have went some extremely difficult times. Let's talk about the abyss and your purpose after the loss of Seth and Prudence.
So I'm 58 right now. And at age 50, I really thought I had it figured out. I started a wealth management firm at 23, worked 100 hours a week, borrowed off everyone I knew. And at that particular point in my life, I was the CEO founder of Premier Investments of Iowa. We had a TV show, we had a radio show, we had about 800 million of assets under management. I had 9 staff. I had a big house, fast car, traveling the world. I'm setting you up, obviously, for the illusion of success. And I thought I had it figured out. On October 4th, 2016, death came into my life for the first time to remind me that I really didn't have it as figured out as I thought. And my oldest son, Seth, was found dead of fentanyl, overdose poisoning, whatever you want to call it. He's not here. And that was the end of a horrific, nightmarish experience for him at 23 that started at 15. He was given Adderall for attention deficit disorder. And at that point, when Seth died, I died as well. My wife, we both, something in us died, but there was something that was born as well, which I now have the benefit of hindsight to really understand. And I was an alcoholic for 32 years up to this point. So was my wife was an alcoholic as well. And I had a compulsive gambling problem, and all these things it got exposed after Seth died. And after about a year and a half of just sitting home and getting drunk every single day, I finally looked in the mirror like a lot of people do. I had that epiphany moment. I just said, enough's enough. And I stopped drinking December 24th of 17 after 32 years. I've never had one thought of drinking. I haven't had a sip. I don't consider myself sober. That implies I'm in a fight. I just don't drink. It's literally that pragmatic. I go to meetings to help people, but I at this point, I found enough reasons through death to prevent me from ever drinking again. And I thought me stopping would help my wife, but it didn't. And on June 29th, 2021, one day after our youngest son's 18th birthday, my wife died of alcoholism and grief and trauma and you name it. She was 46. We were married 21 years. So I tell you this not to get any sympathy or pity, but to promote empathy, love, hope, courage, inspiration. And the abyss was that Christmas in 2021. My mom died 4 months after my wife, and I sat in my closet that weekend. My two boys were out of town. I had the gun to my head, and I just got down to 3 multiple times. And the scary part of the abyss for me at this time, guys, was that I was okay with not living. The death was not attractive to me, but living was more painful. And so I didn't do it. I sat there, got down to 3, and the main reason I didn't do it was my two boys. And when Seth died, who's over my shoulder here, 3 weeks after he died, his daughter was born, guys. And her name is Brighton. And that's the name of my initiative, the Brighton Initiative, the Brighten Young Minds, Brighten Young Lives, Brighten Young Hearts. And so I stand in front of you, not telling you I've conquered anything. I'm just a guy from Iowa. But I have figured out a way to stay alive for today, to be on your show. And that's the zone I live in, is the present. And tomorrow will come. I hope to make it to tomorrow. I do the things I need to get there. And, I'm grateful. I'm honored to be here, to be on the show, to have an opportunity to tell my story. And maybe somebody listening that is going to get that call today. 185 Americans get a call that somebody died from the deaths of despair every hour. Every hour. Something has to give. We need to change something. And I'm on a quest and a mission to find out what that is.
Johnny, you have been through some very, very difficult adversity yourself in the last number of months. I can see you leaning into this conversation with Jeffrey. Jeffrey, thanks for sharing that with us. A very personal story. I'm very, very, very appreciative of that. Johnny, when you hear that, what are you hearing Jeffrey say? You always talk about, never take an opportunity to turn a tragedy into,
the first thing that I thought was, of course, I'm listening to the story, and you think you're at the worst part, and it just keeps going, And so my first thought was, holy shit, man. I mean, first off, my heart goes out to you, brother. Sending positive vibes your way. Love the example you're leading now. But I was thinking to myself, holy shit, I'm fucking lucky.
Yeah.
Because, I went through some tough shit, but nothing like that. Nothing like that. And I can't even imagine what it would be like to actually lose one of my kids. I mean, I've gone through my brother losing a kid, one of our close family friends losing a kid. There's been a lot of death in my life in the last 6 months, but not that close to home. And so my first thought was, holy shit, do I feel fucking grateful.
Yeah.
That I didn't have one of my children die. That was the first thing. And the second thing is I thought, man, this is like one of the best stories I've ever heard of not letting, a good tragedy, forget it, a series of tragedies go to waste.
Yep. Because
really what you've done, bro, is you've taken probably one of the hardest things that a father knows, and you're flipping the script and you're basically saying, you know what? I'm going to make some really fucking sweet lemonade out of this whole shitload of lemons that life just fucking dumped on me. And there's not many people in the world that are able to do it. So, brother, I think what you're doing is fucking amazing.
Well, I appreciate it, John. Like I said, I just think I'm doing what any one of you would be doing if you lost half your family to something that was preventable and predictable. What I did do was the day that Seth died, I knew I had to tell their 13 and 15-year-old brother that their older brother was dead. 13 and 15. That's very impressionable ages, let alone to put a pet down or a grandpa, but your older brother who you looked up to. And I sat the boys on the couch this day, and this is a chapter in my book, and really formed the living undeterred mindset. Was this moment in time when this thing popped into my head, is that, okay, kind of like what you said, I got to take the worst possible scenario and I got to find something beautiful out of this. I got to find something, and I got to do it right now. I cannot wait because my boys are 13 and 15. So I sat him down and I said this, and I really don't have any idea where it came from because I'm agnostic myself. But I looked at them and I thought to myself, okay, this is that halftime speech that coaches have that, you're down, you want to win this game. You got to say something. You got to say something, Dad. And so I stood up and I said, boys, we have one of two roads to go down. We have one road of anger, despair, and hatred. We'll become alcoholics and addicts ourselves. Or we have a road of inspiration and love, hope, and courage. And we can take this opportunity to change the lives of others. I'm on the second road. I ask you to join me. And I really said it that authentic. I didn't rehearse it because I didn't want to rehearse. I wanted to be as honest with the boys as I possibly could be. But I wanted to show them that I was going to lead by example. But the problem was, and I already gave you a little bit of the story, was I didn't. Right after I did that speech, I sat home for a year and a half, drank alcohol every day, got up to 190 pounds. And so it really took that hero's journey. And I'm not a hero. I hate to even use that metaphor, but it's like I had to go through the stages, act 1, act 2, act 3, to get to where I'm at, which I really don't think I've conquered anything. I'm still really trying to live to tomorrow. That's like my mindset. And so I bought an RV right after my son died, a 34-foot Hurricane Thor. I'd never been in an RV in my entire life. I fully wrapped it, the Living Undeterred U.S. tour, and I drove around the United States for 20,000 miles, 95 days in the summer of 2022 with the sole purpose to raise $1 million and give it to charity. I didn't raise any money at all. I raised $35,000. I had no support from corporations or from rich people, but I kept going. That's what I was telling my boys. This is what Living Undeterred is all about. You keep going, you persevere. And that's what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing every day. I'm finding people that have similar passions and purpose. I'm trying to build that bus and let them jump on board and figure out what we can do so we can get people to stop dying and to live inspired lives with intention. That's like my passion. And again, I get up each morning going, what am I going to do today? A lot of times I don't have any idea what I'm doing, but I'm doing.
You're doing.
That's all I'm trying to teach people. Do something. Do a podcast, write a book, do something. But don't, like you said, Keith, don't sit in bed in the morning, look around going, man, I'm so worried about the future. There is no future. There's no past. There's just now.
Yeah. Movement creates momentum. We're hanging out with Keith Bilous, C. Marty Fit, John Anderson, and our guest, Jeffrey Johnson. Marty.
I got to add something, man. I know we got to move on, Keith, but I can't help it. I was just having a conversation the other day about somebody about this with someone very similar. And one thing, you mentioned do something, right? And a lot of times purpose is when you have a purpose, it's easy to get out of that. It's easier to get out of that depression. I'm not trying to relate to you, Jeffrey, or anything like that, or because I haven't been in that situation, but I feel like God makes no mistakes. So that'd be my first thought. God makes no mistakes. So I got to do something. That means I have some type of purpose to follow. Right. And when I hit my depression phase, which was Keith is familiar with it, I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I got in the gym. I got moving my body. Let's go into the fit tip, Keith. Moving my body, and that's kind of how I got rid of my depression and my anxiety, and I found my way into fitness. So sometimes you just got to take the step in the right direction, and like you did, you took a step in the right direction. You put the alcohol down, and your purpose became your granddaughter. And then you started the business with that. So I want to just give you some credit for that. And that's pretty amazing.
I have a quote that I use, guys. I have a quote that goes like this: purpose becomes passion when it gets personal. Purpose becomes passion when it gets personal. And those are my marching orders. And so I tell people, if you don't have any purpose, find something personal, make it your passion. It will become your purpose.
Absolutely.
Brother, I just got to say one thing, man, especially listening to you talk. I mean, you've stacked up problems that one would turn over a mortal man. You were picked for this. You were chosen for this. This was you are here for this.
Yes.
I mean, I've heard of so many stories of people that have just folded up like a chair from a fucking fraction of what you just described. And somehow, whatever you believe in, the universe, God, whatever it is, said this motherfucker can handle being a leader of some nasty shit. So unfortunately, I got to do it to him. And now you are like, you're doing what most people couldn't do, and you're doing the fucking huge service to the world.
I think it's I think we're doing it. because I'm feeding off you guys right now. I mean, I need this. My tank gets low.
Yeah.
So it's not I. This is not an I narrative. This is a we narrative, and this is a we problem, and it's a we solution.
Well, Jeffrey, I have a we for you. I don't know what your plan.
You're the leader. Hold on. You're the leader of the we's, though, brother. Let's get that straight. You are kicking ass. Sorry, Keith.
No, that's good. Let's keep doing this. So I don't know what your plans are, Jeffrey, for the next hour, but if you want to hang out with us and stick around in the lab here, Jeffrey, you are more than welcome to continue the conversation. We got Adam House joining us in a few moments. We got AJ Zeglin joining us in a few moments. We got a few other guests joining us. So if you want to hang out for the show here, Jeffrey, and continue feeding off our energy, and we can feed off your energy. Looks like you're sticking around, Jeff.
If I can get a coffee, I'll stay around as long as you guys want me to.
Well, I'll tell you what, pal. John Anderson got to go for a dump. Marty's gonna go get some water.
Yeah, I get lots of breaks to take a piss. So it's easy to get coffee during the show.
You go get yourself a coffee, Jeffrey. We'll bring you back. You hang out with us, okay, pal? All right.
All right.
You hang out with us, okay? Awesome. All right, we're gonna do a See Marty Fit Tip. We got some fit tips coming up, and then we got Adam House coming up in about a minute or so. Marty, you're up, brother.
Yep. All right. We're going to talk about how regular exercise is a powerful tool to enhance your mental health, right? So this can help you alleviate symptoms of depression, alleviate symptoms of anxiety. It's going to boost your mood, improve your overall mental well-being. And what we just talked about with Jeffrey, it's going to help you find your sense of purpose. So for myself, I'm not to go down my story. I'm going to do this quickly. I didn't know what I wanted to do after, the basketball dreams faded. And, it was pretty clear that I wasn't going to be a pro. But working out every day, I was able to find my purpose, fitness. I was able to help people, and I was able to get that fire back. So if you are feeling some type of depression or anxiety, just get your body moving, right? And a lot of people, when they make a decision to, and nothing against Jeffrey and his family, but when they make decisions to take their life or, talk down to themselves, I can guarantee you they didn't do something to make their body feel great or make their body feel better before they made that decision. Not trying to go down the wrong path here, because I know people can disagree with that, but there are scientific studies to back it. So get your body moving, feel better, right? Feel better, look better. You're going to make better decisions. You're going to get paid better. You're going to play better. All right. So that's the fitness tip for today. Move your body so you can feel better, so you can find your purpose and get moving in life. That's the fitness tip for today.
There's the fit tip of the day with See Marty Fit. Christopher Martin daily here in the lab, always dropping you guys something to think about. Good morning, good time. I see you there in the comments. Good morning, good to have you there. I see you also, you fave Mateo, and I see you there, Z in the Substack. Thanks for joining us here on the show. We got our friend Adam House joining us here this morning. What's up, Mr. House?
Gentlemen, how are we?
We're doing awesome, man.
What's up, House?
How are you today?
I had a little trouble getting into StreamYard, but I think I'm all set. So
we're good. We got you in here.
Ready for a new year. Got my proper jacket on, feeling good.
There we go.
There you go. Adam, I want to introduce you to Jeffrey Johnson. Jeffrey's joining the show here today. Jeffrey has Jeffrey has a very, very personal story joining the show today, and we're talking about setbacks. And I'm not sure if you had a chance to tune in earlier, but Jeffrey had some very, very unfortunate setbacks in his life. And Jeffrey, when I invited you to stick around, the topic is timely because today we're talking about setbacks. They're inevitable, but here's the thing: setbacks don't define you. And Adam, as Jeffrey did, the response defines you. And today we're diving into how we turn challenges into comebacks. Adam, let's start it off, brother, with you, and let's go around the table. How do we take setbacks, whether they're 1, whether they're 2, whether they're 3, whether they're 5? Unfortunately, Jeffrey not only lost his son, he lost his wife, he lost his wife's mother. He's had a terrible, terrible amount of loss, and he has had to find ways to come back. Adam, when you look to the past, you look to the forward, how do we find ways to come back? Adam House.
Well, first of all, none of us want to face tragedy in life, right? And Pat Riley, when I was chaplain for the Miami Heat, used to say, never judge a man until you've walked a mile in his moccasins, because it's easy to tell people like, hey, just make progress. Hey, you can do this. But one of the things that I've learned to do over the last couple of years, still learning to do, is to feel whatever the moment is. right? And what makes us successful as entrepreneurs and athletes and competitors is we have an innate ability to wall off emotions, especially as guys. And so what that can lead to, it's got to burst at some point. We're all human. And so having that self-awareness to actually feel what you're going through. And then I think I caught a tail end of this, like people spend too much time looking for their purpose, but your purpose comes through progress. Taking that first step, brushing your teeth, get out of bed, like just one commitment you can make. I'll make myself breakfast. I'll drink a glass of water, whatever it is. That progress will then help create your purpose and build your self-confidence.
Yeah. Adam, Jeffrey, John, Marty, here's a question for the panel, whoever wants to jump up and grab it, which is, I've learned that the first thing you need to do when you hit a setback is you got to pause and reframe it. And instead of asking, and I think, Jeffrey, you did this, maybe you didn't, why me? You know, you ask yourself, what is this teaching me? And that simple shift, I think, changes everything. No?
Yeah, I would definitely add, and Adam, great to meet you. That
nice to meet you as well.
I was fortunate enough in college to study Stoicism quite a bit, and this ability to reframing was a huge thing in what happened in my life. So I've taken this question, and when I speak around the country, I always end every presentation with this question. I think it's the greatest question we can ask ourselves. Here's the question, and I think how you answer it will frame and dictate the quality of the rest of your life. Do things happen to you or do things happen for you? And so even something like losing your child to fentanyl, I have to find a way that this happened for me. Now, again, I don't think I'm anointed. Yeah. I don't think the clouds parted and some celestial entity came in and said, here, Jeff, I'm taking your son. Now go save the world. It's like, I don't think that. I just think I have to look at this as an opportunity to become better, not bitter. Because if I don't, then I'm on the bitter road. And that's the abyss. And that's when I almost shot my head off 3 years ago. I don't ever want to go back to that spot in my closet. So for me, I've taken this other approach. Pain is unavoidable. Suffering is a choice. So yeah, losing my son and my wife, that pain sucks. It's unavoidable. But the length of time, the duration I spend in suffering, that is my choice. And that's Viktor Frankl 101.
Yeah, and I went through this kind of over the break, and some of this, you know, instead of saying why me, just a different way of saying is what's in this for me, right? Like we're all going to face challenges. We know it. So if you go in, there's a lesson in the progress, right? In the process and the challenge. So if you ask yourself, what's in this for me, that creates a growth mindset of what you can take and grow from it.
Adam, accountability. We always talk about accountability on the show. I've wrapped my arms around that word. It's another game changer. Sharing your struggles with someone who will support you, it makes a huge difference. And then vulnerability is powerful. Jeff has been very vulnerable this morning on the show, and Adam, as I continue to get to know you, continue to be more vulnerable. It's powerful. It opens doors for help and new perspectives. But Adam, what role do you think accountability plays for when you're turning a setback into a comeback?
We're human. We're gonna fall to the path of least resistance unless you have the right mindset, accountability, and coaching. I know, John, you know, and you guys see this in the gym, right? People do the same things every time and expect a different result. The definition of insanity. So the accountability helps break old habits, break bad patterns, and reinforces good ones. So me, I'm a big believer in the accountability, and just what you were saying on the vulnerability and transparency. When you are vulnerable, you're actually helping the other person also because they want to help you. I'm the last guy to call someone for help, but what I've realized when I do it, it actually makes the relationship stronger because they want to give to you also.
Jeffrey, what do you chime in when you hear this?
Well, I actually wrote a blog called My Addiction to Vulnerability because I tried to reframe it as because in my world, I noticed I was becoming too vulnerable. I was like, every time I walked into a room, there's the dad that lost half his family. It's like my identity became attached to my crisis and my chaos. And so I've really been subconsciously working on and consciously working on trying to disassociate myself from always attaching to my story because really my story is just really my story. There's only one person on the planet that has that story in their head, and that's me. So I keep telling myself this narrative over and over. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So I'm really, ironically, trying to become a little less vulnerable, because there's more to Jeff Johnston than just the guy that lost his family. Much more than that. And so I'm trying to be careful about oversharing, being over vulnerable. And it's tough because, unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess, the road I'm in, the lane I'm in, is advocacy. And so for me to help men and women and young adults, I have to kind of bring my guard down, tell my story. It gives them permission to feel okay to talk about their pain. But I got to find a way to put a bow tie on it and kind of move on a little bit, so the conversation doesn't always stay so deep and dark. And I'm working on that. I'm trying to get a little bit better at not being over vulnerable.
Because I imagine it could be, right? Like, I imagine eventually people are like, I don't want to. So Adam will throw you in this too. So I don't want to sit down and talk to Adam all the time, or Jeffrey all the time, or Keith all the time, because there's nothing but misery, right? You got to find a way to separate yourself from that identity, right?
Well, I think there's a window of time when you can make those vulnerable calls.
Yes,
but
Adam, yes.
Then you have to take ownership of the situation and say, what is in this for me? And people do want to help you, but they have their own problems. So like, if you're the guy that's always calling, asking for help, like it works against you. But then you gotta take ownership. So there's that, call it the ER, right? The trauma happens. You need friends around you. You need community. You need coaching. You need accountability. You need support. But then you have to come to a place where, what's in this for me? And then you got to start peeling back, like not calling them every day and complaining about your issues. You got to own the solution. So I agree with that. Vulnerability, transparency, authenticity have kind of gone, to the other side. Like, part of it, you got to just be a man too, and own the situation. So
So, boys, as we wrap up the segment, great conversation, guys. And I know some of you are like, this is cliche, but it's not, because when you lose a person, when you lose a family member, that's not cliche. That's life. Let's go around the table with a little bit of advice for guys tuning in right now. If someone right now starting their day, they're stuck in a setback. Jeffrey, starting with you. What's one piece of advice you'd give them to get moving besides get up and get moving? Jeffrey Johnson.
I would say this. You've survived 100% of the absolute worst thing that's ever happened to you in your life. What makes you think you can't survive the next?
John Anderson.
He took the words right out of my mouth, but I would say, since he literally took what I was going to say, I'm going to break it down a little tighter. You can make it for the next minute. And if you can't, you don't think you can make it for a minute, can you make it for a second? Break it into the smallest unit you can. And literally, when it comes right down to it, most people are going to say, okay, yes, I can make it for the next 60 seconds. And if you can't do that, break it into a second. And when you start chewing up these you're checking boxes, boom, 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 boom. And that just helps the momentum of moving forward.
Yeah, Marty, over to you. Last word to Mr. House. Marty, what would you say to somebody who's wanting and playing off your fit tip, my friend, right now? They're just struggling. They have a setback. What are you telling that person right now, Marty?
Kind of what Jeffrey said, but I'm going to go to the other direction. You're either going through an obstacle or one is on the way. So how are you going to act every time an obstacle comes? You're going to fold. You're going to pout. You're going to bitch and moan about it. So, as a man, we got to be ready for the next thing.
Yeah. My friend Adam, final word to you, my friend. Somebody's going through a setback right now, and they're looking at 2025. They're early in the year. What are you saying to that guy?
Well, since the other ones I was going to say are taken, I mean, the best thing you can do is just take that first step. You know what I mean? Like, it's just make some progress, some commitment. I'm going to walk across the street today. Like, whatever it is, those little steps will make progress. But you can take another approach, which is, where am I 6 months from now? Yes. What does life look like? And what do I have to do to get there? So when you're in a traumatic situation or circumstance, you're very responsive and you're panicking and you're afraid and, okay, what's going to happen next? I'm alone. I'm this, I'm that. So when you're in the weeds like that, it does help also to take a look. Where do I want to be 6 months from now? What does Adam House look like 6 months from now? And you start to envision that and work towards it. So it takes you out of the day in and day out punches that are being thrown.
Awesome. And the advice I would give you guys is don't be afraid to call a friend, call a brother, call a buddy, call somebody and say, I need your help. There's nothing wrong with saying I need your help. Or Adam, I need your ear. Or Johnny, I need some time. Marty, I need a friend. Jeffrey, I need a brother. I just need you to listen. No judgment, full of grace, please. And I would imagine, gentlemen, when you pick up that phone and call that buddy, all they're doing is opening their heart. Right, Jeffrey Johnson?
Yes. I mean, that's just so eloquently well said. However, though, I remember when I was going through the dark moment in my life, if you would have called, I wouldn't have answered. That's just the unfortunate reality of what I was going through. Now, maybe not all men are that way, but I did have people reach out to me for that weekend, and I unplugged everything. I was the most lonely person in the world, but I knew I was not alone.
Yeah. What a great conversation here, guys. Listen, when I had Jeffrey on the show here this morning, then Adam, I did not expect it to go here, but I could not be more fulfilled with where we've ended up here today. Gentlemen, if you're struggling today, I invite you to go back to the last 30 minutes of our chat between Jeffrey and Adam. There's a reason to get going. And the best way to summarize this is what you're going through right now. It can't get any worse. It can't get any worse. Adam House, I appreciate you, brother. I appreciate everything about you. I appreciate what you brought to the table today. And listen, 2025 is going to be a big year, my friend. We got to keep moving forward. Right, Adam?
Yeah, let's do it. Love it. My favorite. I probably should say my favorite 15 minutes of the week, because there are other things that, well, it may last less than 15 minutes. So getting old here. Anyway.
Come on, guys. Where are we going, man? Come on, guys.
I was expecting you guys to go somewhere with that.
Oh, you missed the first 12 minutes. We were talking about how penis lengths have gotten longer here over the last 30 years. So that was the first part of the show. And Jeffrey's going, what am I getting myself into? But there we have it. Listen, we got AJ Zeglin joining us. You can find Adam House in the House of Bricks community over on LinkedIn, over on the internet, and connect with Adam for the greatest advisory board out there for guys. You're looking to start your business, you're looking to take your business to the next level, go connect with Adam House in the House of Bricks. We'll see Adam next Tuesday here, Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Adam, go get it today, brother.
Hey, thanks, fellas. We'll see you next week.
All right. Adam's out of here.
Thank you, Adam.
Jeffrey, here's how this works. Johnny does lifestyle tip. You go take a break. Marty's taking a break. I'm taking a break. We're going to come back with AJ Zeglin and talk mind fuel. Jeffrey, AJ is our mental performance guy. We're going to talk today about how men can handle stress.
Oh, I love it.
Conversation with AJ Zeglin. Johnny, you're up, brother.
Let's go. Life kicks us all in the nuts. Life kicks our ass. Life puts us in positions where we just don't think we can handle it. Well, you got to realize this. You got to take those lemons and make lemonade. Don't let a good tragedy go to waste, because going through this difficult time, there is a better version of you waiting on the other side. Life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. You just have to realize that the challenges that are put in front of you are there for you to get better, so that you can inspire to help the ones you love and the ones who are also struggling with the same things you are around the world. So remember, don't let a good tragedy go to waste, but more importantly, just remember, you're not alone. Everybody goes through the shit. Just keep moving forward. Rock and roll.
All right, there we go. John Anderson coming to you with some great advice to help you guys get moving here this morning. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Listen, if you're just tuning in here this morning, Amy Reiner to see in the comments there, yes, I invite you to go back. We've had an incredibly moving, personal, fascinating conversation with our guest, Jeffrey Johnson, here this morning. Jeffrey has gone through some very, very deep personal tragedy, which he has shared with us. We're very, very grateful, and he's very grateful to stick around and hang out with us here today. What's going on, Mr. Zeglin?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Happy New Year, pal.
What's up, brother?
AJ?
Happy New Year. Good to see you guys.
Good to have you in here today. So, AJ, we got Jeffrey Johnson here today on the show here, and Jeffrey's been sharing a very, very personal story with us. Jeffrey's, and I would not expect you, AJ, have got back to listen to earlier segments, but Jeffrey unfortunately lost his son to fentanyl, lost his wife months after that. Jeffrey, was it your mother or mother-in-law after that?
It was my mom, yeah.
Mom. So Jeffrey has had unspeakable tragedy come through his life. Yet he has found a way to inspire and motivate others, AJ, continuously. And I thought today we could have a conversation around men handling stress and finding ways to calm down. Because AJ Zeglin, I suspect a common theme us men tell each other: just relax, man, calm down, just settle down. You know what I mean? And I see you laugh because it's like that common man rephrase, right? It's like, just calm down, man, just settle down. And you're like, no, I don't want to fucking calm down. I want to be a part of my feelings. AJ, let's talk about handling stress for men specifically. AJ Zeglin.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple things there. I think you're absolutely right. In the past, the general kind of consensus was we would just kind of throw out general information to people, like, but not really teach them how to do it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So obviously, we work with a lot of athletes here, a high population of people I work with in the performance field, those athletes, but they've been given general cues their whole life just to be like, hey, just let it go, focus, calm down, don't worry about it, or whatever. And people are probably sitting there thinking like, yeah, I would love to just let this go. I would love to move on. I would love to be able to focus. I'd love to, but I don't know how, right? And traditionally, we've given people a lot of like structure to developing certain systems on like how to work out better, how to eat better, how to sleep better, how to do all these things. But with the mental aspect and how we handle stress and anxiety and how we perform and stuff, we didn't really provide them with the same tools, right? So, I mean, stress is something that we all feel and we actually all want to feel, right? So a common misconception, I should say from the start, is that people are like, oh, how do I have a stress-free life? Yeah. And it's like, no, man, if you had a stress-free life, show me a life then without any meaning, without any purpose, without any, right?
Yes.
To use the, I'm big on the gym analogies. In the gym, we seek that stress out. It's like, hey, how can I go and how can I subject my body to a certain amount of calculated stress? And when I do that, then I give myself the ability to adapt to it. And when I go through those adaptations, I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I'm faster, I'm whatever my goal is, right? So same thing in life. We want stress in our life. We want to subject ourselves to stressful situations. We want to push our comfort level. We want to be right on the edge of our and kind of trying to expand our boundaries and what we're trying to accomplish. What we want to do, though, is just give ourselves the proper tools, though, to be able to handle and manage that stress so that stress just doesn't completely break us down. But much like in a gym, how we would have modalities to help us recover from our workouts. So we adapt to them and we come back bigger and stronger. Same thing in life. We would subject ourselves to stressful situations. We push our boundaries. We challenge ourselves. We go through hard things. We adapt to them and we grow, right? We become better people.
Yeah. Jeffrey, what are you hearing when you hear AJ say this?
Well, it's AJ, great to meet you, by the way.
Same.
It's interesting you say that because, again, when I speak to men, I always ask them, when's the last time you had the most gut-wrenching, worst crying moment and felt worse when you were done? When's the last time you walked into the doorway of the gym and didn't want to go there and had a hard workout and then sat in your car afterwards and felt worse that you went to the gym? It's like 100% of the time, you're going to feel better when you're sitting on the floor in a fetal position, crying your ass out, and your dog's licking the tears off your face like my lab did before I put him down. I felt better at 100%. So I know now going into this, I'm going to come out of it a better person and not bitter. And it took a lot of time, a lot of work for me to understand how that works. And so I like to tell myself, you're always free to tell yourself a new story about your past. So whatever identification or attachment you have on things that have happened in your life, you are the writer of your own chapters of your own book, and you can tell yourself any story. You can tell yourself they didn't happen if you want to, or you can manipulate it some way that it's constructive, as long as it doesn't become like toxic positivity, which is in a whole nother set of itself. But no, I agree, AJ, with what you said about the gym. I'm not a big weightlifting guy, but I do run about 5 to 7 miles a day on my elliptical.
Awesome.
90% of the time I get on my elliptical, I don't want to run 5 to 7 miles. But 100% of the time when I'm done, I'm happy I did.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think the key, Keith, to get back to your kind of original question there too, is just like, we just have to give ourselves the skills to handle it. Right. So we don't want to shy away from stress. We don't want to run away from it. We don't want to act like if it's not there. We don't want to strive to have a stress-free life. We want to strive to have a life where we have the proper skills and tools to be able to take that stress on, carry it well, adapt to it, and develop as people.
Yeah, we don't want to wish for it. We don't want to wish for it to be easier. We want to wish for it for us to be better.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
AJ, as we work towards wrapping up this segment, talk about the power of brotherhood for men to manage and reduce stress. I know maybe seems somewhat cliche, brotherhood, yet there's something really powerful in that. And I want to bridge it over to Jeffrey a little bit, because Jeffrey, your unspeakable tragedy, did you lean into brotherhood, or did you think you could do it all yourself, Jeffrey?
To start off, I leaned into alcohol for about a year and a half. And I played 2 sports in college. My dad's in 2 Hall of Fames in college for athletics. And so I grew up with sports my whole life. So I was that guy that thought, well, I'll just take care of this myself. Alcohol numbed the pain I was going through, but it certainly didn't get me anywhere where I needed to go. So when I stopped drinking, when I changed my relationship with something that was holding me back, my life, I was 190 pounds. I'm 140 today. Everything got better in my life. And my sobriety couldn't help my wife, unfortunately, but it helped me. And in helping me, I'm able now to help other people. So there is some method to this madness that things will play out. And it's not always in the order that we anticipate. You know, I buried my son, buried my wife, buried my mom, and my 92-year-old dad, who statistically probably should have went first, is still alive. So instead of me complaining about all I've lost, look how grateful I am. I've had a chance to meet all you. I've got 2 boys out of my 3 still here. I know moms and dads that have lost their only children. I can't even fathom that. So yeah, someone mentioned earlier about being grateful. And I think in a way, grief comparison can be a good thing, as long as we're not doing it to create imposter syndrome or gaslights us. And we feel like, why should I feel bad? Keith's lost his wife and his son. I've only put my dog down. I don't have a right to feel bad. That's bullshit. You know, your dog may be your only thing in your life that kept you going, and now you put it down. So for you, that's the equivalent of losing a child. It sounds crazy, but we can't run around and trying to label how someone's grief or pain is in relation to ours. You own your pain and your suffering. And I think that's the beauty of sharing the brotherhood you talked about, Keith, is that we all have pain and we all have suffering. It's how can we each help each other move on and create a better lived experience.
And AJ, you've been part of teams, you coach teams, you work with teams. Talk about the power of brotherhood.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of power that exists in the opportunity to let somebody help you. So, you know, when I love it. If you're my friend, if you're my acquaintance, if you're anything, to me, if we've met, if we've crossed paths and you need help with something and you come and ask me for help, I feel like I don't have a greater purpose in my life than to offer you a hand and extend and help. And I know how good that makes me feel. I'm not going to lie. Like it makes me feel good to help a brother out. I love it. That is my purpose. That is my passion. And whatever that looks like, right? So on the flip side of that, though, for myself, I'm like, hey, I know how much I feel, how strongly I feel a sense of purpose in that. I know how good that makes me feel to help someone with something, whatever challenge it is that they're going through. How selfish of me would that be to not give people the same opportunity, right? To just be like, oh no, I know this makes me feel good and gives me a strong sense of purpose, but I won't afford that, or I won't extend that opportunity to anyone else. When I need help, I'll just keep it all to myself, right? So you kind of flip your perspective on that. You reframe it. I'm like, hey, by me going to ask Keith for help, I'm also giving him the opportunity to fulfill his purpose and for him to feel good about himself and for him to, and it goes both ways. There's a mutual benefit there, I think, for all the parties involved in that process.
And I can speak to this on purpose, gentlemen, because this man here, AJ Zeglin, changed my life. Because when I needed help, Jeffrey, AJ Zeglin stood up for me. Marty knows that, and Johnny knows that. So, hey, let's put that comment on the board here. We got Jason Garino joining us. AJ, Jason. Amazing conversation, guys. Truth be told, been going through a very hard time, and this conversation could not come at a better moment. You all have helped me today. That is awesome, Greeno. I appreciate you, man.
Yeah,
Greeno, thanks for
baby.
being here today. I love that. I love that. I love that. What a great conversation happening here today in the lab. AJ, I invite you to go back, listen to some of the chat we had with Jeffrey Johnson earlier today. I invite you and Jeffrey to connect. Jeffrey, connect with AJ. You guys need to connect. Zeglin, I love you, man. I appreciate you. You always drop nuggets, even though Marty, Johnny, AJ's like, I don't know if I say much that's of value. No, fuck. You always say stuff of value, man.
I straightened him out when he said that.
I know.
Shit,
Yeah.
I wasn't letting that go. Shit.
No, your words offer value, brother. And I got nothing but love and respect for you, Mr. Zeglin. And we got Amy Reinhardt jumping in as well, saying this is taking my breath away. Amy, this is the kind of conversations we have here in the lab. Safe conversations for great men like AJ, Jeffrey, Johnny, maybe Marty too, but yeah.
Keith, you remember there was a day when you had internet trouble?
Yes.
Marty was somewhere.
Yes.
AJ and I, we were just rapping, man. I was
know,
like,
yes.
shit, I hope his shit
Oh,
stays out for the rest of the show.
I didn't hear about this.
Yeah.
Oh, man,
yeah.
that's cool.
I don't know if he just went to go change one of his robes or what happened, but the bottom line is AJ and I, we were just fucking rapping, having a good time. I was like, I hope that nutty little fucker stays away. I'm having a great time.
That's that Canadian internet. It don't work up there like it do in America.
That's it. Mr. Zeglin, we have you on overtime here today, pal. What do you got going on here today, brother?
I mean, same as always, usually with you guys. I'm back in the gym, and then I got to lift myself, and then I'm at the clinic working with people. And I was gonna say, I was chuckling before, because when you first asked me that question, I went on that extremely long explanation, and we're always looking for sound bites. But then I feel like John always comes in and saves me, because I gave a 2-minute explanation, and then John came in with like 4 words, and I was like, that's it. That's the sound clip. I can just dump it all out, and then John can come in and just summarize it in one concise statement.
That's what John does, man. That's what John does.
Hey, AJ, before you go, I got to ask your opinion on something, man. Some science has revealed some struggling numbers we dug into this morning. AJ.
Oh, here we go. I love it.
Oh, my God.
Penis size has grown 24%, AJ, in the last 30 years.
It's gone up.
Yeah, almost 30%. From 4.8 to 6 inches, AJ. Amy Reinhardt, we go from feelings and emotion to average penis size on men's here on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Zeglin,
well, I had a theory, AJ, and I think you might be able to. You could probably help us that, because you work with lots. You work with kids, right? Yeah. So think back 20 years ago. What the size of the kids then versus size of the kids now? I'd say they're easily 25% bigger, maybe more, which would mean their shaft is also increased size as well. It's just kind of increasing with the size of the creature, the human. What do you think?
So, I mean, my first thought was, I guess we were all just born in the wrong decade, I guess.
Hey, I don't know about y'all. I was born in the right decade. I don't know about y'all. My decade is cool. I'm good.
And we learned last week too, when it goes in, Marty's doesn't bend, because we learned through the MRI from 1991, AJ, when females and men have sex together, the penis bends inside the vagina.
But Johnny agreed with me though. Johnny agreed with me.
It sounds like, we've all been in the locker rooms. It sounds like Marty's that dude that comes fucking walking out there and his shit looks like a fucking baby's arm holding an apple. The goddamn thing's got a fucking joint to it, Is that what we got, Mart? Be honest with us. Come on, baby. Is that what we're talking about here?
I ain't say all of that.
But it doesn't bend, as Jimmy says. Jimmy's like Jimmy typing, it doesn't bend, it doesn't bend.
I don't get any complaints. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, this is awesome. All right, guys. Well, listen, we got to keep the show rocking and rolling here. It's we know this sound. This sound kicks off the second hour. Zeglin, have a great day, brother. Stay warm here in Manitoba today.
Thanks, guys. I'll do my
Good to
best.
see you, AJ.
All right, AJ. Good seeing you, man.
Thank you.
Take care, AJ.
Take care, brother. All right, Jeff, here's how this works. We're kicking off the second hour of the show here. We're coming up the morning loop reloaded.
I got to roll too, Keith.
Marty's got to roll. Marty, get after today.
I gotta go shovel mom's driveway before I get some work done. I gotta go help mom out. Yeah.
Chris,
brother, you can't shovel sunshine. You cannot shovel. You can't do it, brother.
Hey, come on, Johnny. Come on, man. That's what we doing today, Johnny. Come on, man.
Listen, man. I'm just prompting you to get over here in the fast lane. Come on, babe.
No, you're right. I'm working on it.
Chris, son, can you come and shovel my snow?
That's my mom, man. Man. Yeah.
All right, Marty. Good luck, brother. Take care of yourself.
Thank
okay.
you. Hey, Jeffrey, nice to meet you, man. I'm gonna connect with you, man.
You too. Pleasure.
Yes,
I'd love to connect with all you guys. Yep.
All right.
Awesome. Marty's out here. Johnny's gonna go for a break. Keith and Jeff are hanging around for the next 40 minutes or so. We got the continuing show here. Amy Reiner, see you in the comments. Thanks for hanging out this morning. John, you stick on for a break, for a quick pee break, brother?
Yeah, I'm just waiting for you to get me off the screen so I don't leave a blank spot on the damn show. Come on, baby.
Come on, Jimmy. Hit the buttons. All right, you're back here with Keith Bilous. Mornings in the Lab with Keith and friends. I got my friend Jeffrey Johnson here this morning, and we got John Anderson off there in the bidet. Marty's off shoveling snow at his mom's. AJ's out training some folks in the gym there, and we're tuning into the second hour of the show. First hour, we talked into why our men's penis size is growing much bigger than they have over the last 30 years. We got into black utensils. There's a segue, Jeffrey, from penis sizes to black utensils. Yeah, there's a segue we all can hang on this morning. But listen, the black utensils you might have been reading about that are causing ill effects to your health. Well, hey, the math might be wrong. So you might want to go relearn about that. And then, of course, we had Jeffrey join us in the first hour here to talk about his tragedy that he's gone through his life. And man, we've learned a lot about how we can turn tragedy into positive experiences and how to turn setbacks into comebacks for 2025. Adam House also joined us. Coming up on this show, we also talked about ways to calm down, men. And often we're told, Jeffrey, right? Just relax, just calm down. We're like, no, I don't want to fucking calm down. I don't want to relax. So some of the things we offered up is call a buddy, call a friend, take ownership of your situation and so forth. Jeffrey, first hours in the books. How has your experience been so far, brother?
It was great. And I was just going to mention something. You had just said something that triggered a thought in my head. I think Psychology Today had a study that said, and I may be a little off on this, but you'll get the point.
Yeah.
That 87%, and maybe it's 85 or 82, but it's over 80 of our daily thoughts tend to be negative, and 92% of those are repetitive.
Yes.
So what happens is we just run through our day, our opportunity we have to have a really good day, and we just tell ourselves these stories over and over and over that seem to be either hung up on the past or fear of the future. And we repeat them over and over and over. And again, over 80% of these things never come true. So most of what we worry about that we tell ourselves every day, most likely, more probability wise, it will not come true. So whether it's a financial concern, a relationship concern, a job that you want to switch and go and you're nervous, it's like, look at statistics. The statistics are in your favor because the majority of things we worry about never come true. So, and again, I look at my own life and it's true that the stories that I've told myself in the last couple of years, whether it's been the risk I took financially with the app or things that I've done with my advocacy, 9 times out of 10, the things that I got hung up on that were negative never happened. So what's the lesson in that, right?
I have to think, Jeffrey, that with the amount of personal loss that you've gone through in your life, your ability to make tough decisions, forgive me for laughing a little bit.
No, it's fine. I get it.
Easy.
Yeah.
Because you're like, because you made the comment of, the financial decision I had to make to build your app. You must have said to yourself, what's the worst thing that can happen? Because we all say that to ourselves. What is my wife going to die? Is my wife going to die? My kid die? And I'm not trying to joke with you. I'm just trying to get some levity to the situation. You're like, well, holy fuck, they all died. So what worse can happen to me? And again, I'm trying to provide levity to it, but there's some truth to that, Jeffrey.
Someone said to me, because I'm 58 and I've put a lot of money, over $500,000 into this project that I'm on with the app just in the last 2 years.
Yes.
Someone said, Jeff, you're 58, you're on a fixed income, this is your retirement money. It's like, aren't you afraid of losing it? And I said, you bury half your family money. I have no attachment to money and I'll find it. I have people out there that'll help me. So am I worried about running out of money at 58? Yeah, but I would much rather have no money and have half my family back. And I make that trade all day long. So I do compare sometimes, like if someone cuts me off or somebody says something to me on social media, and then I go back to the moment when I got the call that Seth and Prudence died. And I'm like, this is comical how I would even let anything get under my skin. But again, I am human. And the further I do disassociate myself from what happened in my past, the more things that happen today are a little more raw. But you are right. I think for me to be able to handle what would be normally a devastating call for somebody, to me is like, a Tuesday. I have to laugh at it sometimes, but in all honesty, if I don't, then the other thing happens, and I really want to try to avoid that.
Yeah. Good morning. Good time. I see you there in the comments. Thanks for joining us here this morning. Hope you're doing well there. Good time. Hope you're out for a walk there. Marty, so listen, we've been hanging out with Jeffrey for an hour now, and you've been digesting,
You mean John, right?
Did I say Marty?
Yeah, I'm just fucking with you. Yes, you did.
Johnny, we've been hanging with Jeffrey for an hour now, and he's been dropping nuggets and dropping things. And what's one thing that really stands out for you today, Johnny, on what's that Jeffrey has said? Because I'm just still wrapping my head around like not losing one, not losing twice, losing 3 times, like unimaginable tragedies, Johnny.
Well, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, when I was taking a piss, you see, I switched my audio to earbuds, so I'm taking a piss. I can still hear the conversation.
Yeah.
And so as I'm listening, I get this every time I hear Jeffrey speak. There's so much of the things that we think and that we practice are so similar. It's just that he's like the guy he's like the true gladiator. I feel like I'm the gladiator that's training to get into the arena. He's the guy that there's no gladiator in the fucking arena that can touch him. He's taken the skills and he's put them to use, because it's great to have all this stuff in actuality, but when it comes right down to it, and you have one of these issues that's coming at you, just like gladiator trying to stick a sword in your stomach, all of the practice and all the things that you tell yourself and all the things that you try to help other people understand at that moment, can you do it yourself? And he's literally that guy.
I'd like to add something, Keith and John, that I say this with all due respect, and it's more of just a reframing thing that I've done that's helped me, and this should help anybody out there listening to this, is that the word tragedy, I mean, that gets really pinned to my story a lot, but the reality is a tragedy is losing your brother to a drunk driver, or having a child drown in a pool. What happened to my son and my wife were predictable outcomes, and they were preventable. So for me, they're unfortunate. They're not tragedies. And so when someone says, Jeff, your story's tragic, what I like to do, first of all, is not correct them, because that's very rude. I like to think about it a little bit, but the reality is I don't think my situation's tragic at all. I think it's just a set of unfortunate decisions they both made that has collateral damage for generations now. And my job is to go out and not clean it up, but to smooth it out. And so future generations can use what happened to Prudence and Seth and what we're doing kind of out of the ashes. And people can look at their own lives and say, well, maybe I didn't have exactly what happened to Jeff, but I think what I'm doing can be similar to what Jeff is doing. I can write a book. I can do a podcast. I can be an advocate instead of drinking myself to death. And I think that's the lesson in my story, is that, are these gifts? I mean, versus a tragedy. I mean, maybe death's a gift and it's not a tragic outcome. I don't know. I'm just trying to tell myself a different story than sitting around going, man, my life sucks. I've missed my family. I'm going to go have beer today. It's like, that's what I did. Yeah. And I almost killed myself. So I'm like trying to say, even if these things aren't true, I can tell myself any story I want to tell myself. So I don't really believe my story's tragedy.
Oh, brother, you're everybody has a story. Everybody has the story to tell themselves.
Right.
And you've taken, let's get rid of the word tragedy. You've taken a bunch of fucking lemons. You've taken a lot of bad shit, a lot of whatever you want to call it, whatever adjectives you want to choose. And your story is that those challenges have made you a better, stronger person and a better leader for those that have come even anywhere close to that. So you've taken your story, you've taken those lemons and you've made lemonade. And that's one of the things that people tend to, oh, well, I'm here, I'm forgive me if you're a 7-Eleven clerk, I'm not trying to bash you, but I'm saying if I'm a clerk at 7-Eleven because this happened to me.
Yeah.
Versus, this happened to me and now I'm a fucking savage.
Yeah.
And that's you. You're the guy that said, it doesn't matter how tough it is, that is making me better. And there is, if you think about it, you cannot have a higher level of fucking freedom.
Johnny, it's like guys like Jeffrey, you want to surround yourself with guys like Jeffrey around you, don't you, Johnny? Because when you bring a guy like Jeffrey around you, you know you have this energy that's going to it's like Jeffrey, when I feel you around me and I'm just getting to know you, I feel like you bring a sense of calm to me because I feel like you're telling me everything's going to be okay. Because what you've gone through,
it is. That's exactly what he's demonstrating. There's nothing that can cross his path that he's not going to turn into something, into a positive.
Yeah.
And that's exactly it. That's freedom. When you don't have to be afraid anymore, no matter what happens, when you eliminate fear, your fucking life becomes limitless.
Who said today that something about the obstacle, then there's one coming? I don't remember. Okay. I mean, wow, that was like, that's part of when I started kind of down this advocacy road. I had to think of like bite-sized, chewable things I could like leave people with. And so I came up with what's called the living undeterred mindset.
Yeah.
And so the LUM is what I called it. And it's expectations, preparation, and evolution. So it's like have realistic expectations that shitty fucking things are going to happen and have happened, but prepare like you're going to battle every single day, but then evolve.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're doing one thing and you're dead set on it, and all of a sudden you realize that that's not working, evolve to something else. So it's expectations, preparation, and evolution. Those are like the three like marching orders in my mind every day. What am I doing today to have realistic expectations? I'm never going to conquer this stuff. I mean, I realize that if I get to a summit and I sit there and go, yes, I made it, there's another summit over there. I'm going to say, I want to go conquer that summit. So you never conquer.
The climb never stops. Yeah.
You never. And I have an addictive personality. So I'm addicted to, maybe I'm addicted to the chaos in my life. But something good's coming out of it. Whereas being addicted to chaos can create addictions like alcohol and drugs. My addiction is living the best inspired life I can live. And so I think those three tenets, expectations, preparation, no alcohol, no smoking, no toxic media. I'm not on social media most of the day. I have great friends. Like you said, Keith, I mean, you're right. I hang around people, my jaw drops. I'm going, you lost your only 2 boys to overdose? Dude, you're my fucking hero, man.
Yeah.
Or it's like, or you were a meth addict and you quit meth and now you are an inspirational keynote speaker. Man, you're my hero. It doesn't have to be death. It's like, and so I surround myself every day around people that just pull me up. And in doing so, maybe I pulled up someone today, one person. That's all I have to do each day.
Well,
sometimes it's just me. Sometimes I'm the only person that benefits,
Yeah. And that's the purpose of our show.
When you accept the worst possible outcome, right? And you're okay with that. It changes your perspective. It's like, I know you studied stoicism like on an official level.
Yeah.
I love stoicism. So I just am constantly trying to soak it up. But I know there's some level of that in Stoics too, is that, when you recognize, hey, this is the worst thing that can happen, I'm going to be okay. Then you see the world differently, and it's such a powerful thing, where so many times in my life, I've been at a crossroad. Okay, if this doesn't work, I'm going to end up here.
Yeah.
Well, I know I'm going to be okay if I end up there. So let's fucking do it. Yeah. I might end up there and have to, there might be a lot of work involved in getting myself out of over there, but I'm going to be okay. And it's freedom.
Jeffrey, I want to go to a question with you, which is, I think we glossed a little bit over it in our conversation with you, but I want to lean into this idea of, at some point, I'm assuming in your journey, you finally made the call, or maybe you didn't, but for help. It was either a psychologist, a therapist, a doctor, a friend. But I have to assume that through your journey, losing your son, losing your wife, was there one person, a few people, like let's talk about the role of help when you finally found the courage for help, who it was, how did you get there? Again, I want you thinking about, there's a guy listening right now, Jason Garino turned in a half an hour ago going, I needed a conversation like this right now.
Yeah, that's a great question, because there's been a lot of people that have helped me along the way. Most of them have actually, reached out to me. I'm like that stubborn male that I just figured I was going to figure all this out myself. But the day that our son died, I remember driving up to the hotel with my wife, and I didn't know what to do. There was no template in my world about what to do. So I called my dad. My dad, I mentioned earlier, is still alive. He's a doctor. My dad's a retired doctor, 92. And he's like the most, calm, balanced, like pragmatic person I know. So I called my dad on the way up, and I said, Dad, what do I tell Seth's two younger brothers, Ian and Roman? My wife, obviously that was the worst thing I ever had to do, is tell my wife that our son died. But what do I tell the two boys? Because when I wrote my book, I learned that sibling bereavement is like the number one thing for an adolescent to ever have to deal with. More than a parent is losing a brother or sister, especially an older one.
Okay.
The one they looked up to. My dad said this. He said, Jeff, two things. I know you like to talk. He said, tell him the truth and shut your damn mouth. That's what my dad said. And so I did. I went up, told him the truth, shut my mouth. There was that long pause. My middle son goes, Dad, how'd he die? Drugs? They knew. Yeah. And then I went into the two roads story I already mentioned earlier. Yeah. We have two roads to go down. And so I did. I told him the truth. Your brother's dead. And then Ian goes, how'd he die, Dad? Drugs? And I said, yes. And I thought, okay, it's fucking go time, man. It's it. It is. This is your training as a husband. This is your training as a dad. This is your training as a human being. It's go time. You're at the goal line. Don't fumble the ball. Now, I didn't say that as in putting pressure on me. I'm like, okay, take a deep breath. Say what you want to say to them, but say something impactful and say it honestly from the heart, and then shut up again. And that's what I did. And again, I don't know where all that came from. Realistically, I probably fumbled and stumbled through it and sounded like an idiot. Now it sounds polished over these years. But I did say something, and it wasn't like I didn't want to coddle them. I mean, I have my three brothers still alive, guys. I'm 58. Two are older, one's younger. I don't even know what it'd be like if I was 13 and my older brother Steve would have died. I don't even know. It's unfathomable for me. So anybody out there that's in a position where they can say something impactful, take a deep breath, trust yourself, close your eyes if you need to, and just say what you want to say, but then do what you're going to do.
Powerful stuff, Jeff.
That's heavy hitting stuff, brother. I mean, the fact that to say that, your brother died and just be quiet, the holy Toledo, I mean, because my nature as a fixer, man, I would have just been.
I think most of us men are, John.
Rambling at the mouth. But when you're telling the story, I went right back to the fact that you were chosen for this.
Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to argue that, isn't it, Johnny? It's hard to argue that. Like there are plenty of people that would not have been able to do what you've done, and you're here to be the leader in this scenario for millions and millions of people. Yeah.
The other thing, guys, I think that I've been more comfortable with, because I never talked about my suicidal ideation ever until just a couple of years ago, where it leaked out on a podcast I was on, is that, the hard part is how do you share these stories without getting pity or like, oh, I want to work with Jeff because I feel sorry for him, where I really I want empathy. I want love. I want courage. I want hope. I want inspiration. So I guess I'll ask you guys, when you're trying to, install this, level of love into somebody's heart, how do you do it through a difficult story where you're not trying to evoke sympathy, but you're trying to get empathy? I guess that's a tough one for me, because I do have a lot of people that feel sorry for me, and I don't really want that. I don't need it.
I mean, goodness gracious, brother. I mean, really, really stepping on a limb trying to answer that, because I'm not explaining that a tough situation of mine is pretty low on the Richter scale compared to yours. But
right, Ronnie.
When I explain my challenges, I overcame a lot as a youngster. I was, I thank God that I had the challenges I had when I was young. But again, they're not even the same fucking league as what we were talking about with you. You know? But what I'm getting at is that when I explain my story, I explain it with the confidence that, you know, thank God this shit happened to me.
Right.
And at that point, somebody realizes, okay, he's fucking happy that this happened to him. You know, maybe happy is the wrong word, but you know, he's you know, he's taken this and he's grown from it, and that's what they're drawn to.
Yeah,
you know, so granted, I mean, it's hard to say. You know, I'm happy I had all this death and my, you know, to the closest people to me, but you know, I would imagine that, and you explain your situation, you know, you can explain at the same time here, this was brutal for me to go through, but now I get a chance to help all of the other people in the world who are going through the same thing.
Well,
and I would say that people are going to see that as, holy shit, you know,
I
this guy doesn't need pity.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go ahead.
No, please go ahead. Fuck,
well,
man.
I was just saying,
struggling to get the words out.
No, the other day I was meeting with a men's group, and there was a gentleman in there that had been sexually molested by a cousin when he was younger, and he was in his 50s and just came out. And so I put myself in the I've never been sexually molested. So there's an example where I was on the other, you know, I was in the other scenario where I was looking at somebody who went through this horrific, unimaginable event that he had nothing to do with, and I couldn't relate to it. So when I tell my story, I understand that 99% of the people in any audience haven't buried half their family to drugs and alcohol like I have, but I haven't been molested either. So I have to have this ability to flip that lens and say, okay, I need to provide just as much empathy and love and hope to that person who went through something I didn't go through. And there's no reason why other people can't do it when you're talking to somebody that went through something that you didn't go through. And it's all that brotherhood, Keith. It's about what parts of my story can Keith and John glean, handpick, cherry pick, whatever you want to call it, and then put it into your existing story in the present that can make a better story for you in the future. And that's the challenge we all have in front of us.
Yes.
Well, you know, brother, on that level, thinking back, what I probably should have said in trying to answer that question a minute ago was that you come across to me as a guy who is a leader, not a guy who needs sympathy. So I think you're already doing it.
Yeah. I agree with Johnny here. And
sense?
It does make sense.
I didn't think for a minute. God, I wish I could. I didn't get on that side of the equation.
Yeah.
I got on the side of the equation. Look at this fucking gladiator go, is what I thought to myself.
And that could be just something in my, like,
in your head, 100%.
Right.
You're talking about the brain. Right. The brain fucks us up with all this shit. Yeah. It's not even real. You know, most of the shit that we worry about never fucking happens. I love when I was taking a piss when you're talking about that, but I teach my clients this stuff, you know. But I think, brother, to answer your question, I think you're already fucking doing it. You know what I mean?
I agree with Johnny, Jeffrey. And if there's anything I can invite you to do, my friend, as we continue the show here, we're gonna bring Sean Blanc. I see you in there, Sean, in the green room. We're bringing you here in about a minute here. We're gonna wrap up the segment with Jeffrey. Jeffrey, keep being you, man. I find myself listening to you, probably like John. If I can speak on behalf of John, I find myself wanting to walk towards the camera. I find myself wanting to lean into the words you're speaking. I find myself wanting to hang on to the things that you're saying. So while, yes, I know you're not looking for sympathy, because I can hear it in you, I feel like what you're sharing is, here's my story. Let's not compare. Here's my reality. Here's what I've been through. Take from it what you can. I can help with you what I can. But if I can offer you anything, Jeffrey, don't stop being you, my friend, because you're inspiring men around the world with what you're doing. And don't let those stories tell you otherwise, Jeffrey Johnson.
I can reach to the camera and give you guys both the biggest fucking man hug right now, and cry with you. But John, I want to have a cigar with you while we're crying.
There we go.
We invite cigars. We invite vulnerability. We invite every kind of feeling and emotion that men have, Jeffrey, but that men don't talk about. And that's what we do here on the show here at Mornings in the Lab. Jeffrey, I am more than grateful. If I can speak on behalf of my good friend, my brother, John, I'm more than grateful that you were able to hang out with us here today, and not just for 13 minutes, for the whole hour. And I'll tell you right now, pal, you come back again with us? You come back and hang out again? Anytime.
Seriously. This time in the morning is great for me. So anytime you want me to jump on, I'd be honored.
That'd be awesome, man. Yeah, well, listen, you enjoy your day. We'll look forward to seeing you in the channels. Johnny's got to be on his way as well. Johnny's got some things going on as well here. And we got Sean Blanc joining me here to wrap the show up for the Community Corner. So, Johnny, you going to get after today, brother?
Yeah, all I want to say is, Jeffrey, fucking A, brother. Keep fucking kicking ass.
Yeah.
Well, I just want to say
That's all I got to say.
here's my cat, my new rescue cat. His name is Shanks. I named him after my golf game.
Nice. Johnny. Okay, so we got all the emotion out of the way. John and I are dog guys. So John, now we gotta let the guy out of the fucking cat. We got
I have a dog too. I actually named him
okay.
Camus. I named him Camus after my favorite red wine, but we just put him down 3 months ago.
Oh,
so.
Jesus, Murphy.
I know.
Oh, my goodness. Just get out of here, man.
I know. It's this black cloud following me around, apparently.
Just get out of here. All right, Johnny. Have a great day,
guys.
brother. Enjoy your loop, okay?
Right Thank you, Jeffrey.
Thanks.
Thanks, Jeffrey. All right. You got Keith Bilous here. Mornings Alive with Keith and friends. Jeff is out of here, Jimmy. We're going to bring in Sean Blanc in less than a minute here, Jimmy. Hey, listen, guys. If you just tuned into the show, I have to invite you to go back to about the 15-minute mark after the accountability check-in on the hour one here. We sat down with Jeffrey Johnson. The guy has a story. He's got a story. And if you're sitting there starting your day today and you're wondering how to start your day today, let me offer this. Jeffrey lost his son. Jeffrey lost his wife. Jeffrey lost his mother. Jeffrey just lost his dog. Jeffrey gets up every single day and he finds momentum within movement. So I know we have tough mornings. I know we have tough days, and I know we have times we don't want to get going because it's tough. But could it be any tougher than what Jeffrey's gone through? So I would invite you, go back and listen to the top end of the show. I suspect it's going to give you a reason to get up and get moving. All right, Jimmy, let's do the old proverbial pivot. I know good time, right? Like I see your comments. Yeah, exactly good time. And on top of it all, the dog guys, a good time. Come on. Like, you know what, my friend, you tune in the show with me all the time here. It's like, let's practice some gratitude, right? All right. So listen, this point in the show, we got a young man joining me from, Sean, where are you joining me from today, brother?
I'm in Kansas City right now.
Oh, straight south of Winnipeg, Manitoba, Canada. Sean Blanc is joining me here, Mornings Alive with Keith and friends. We celebrated Sean a few weeks back here on our Creator Spotlight. What's going on, Sean?
Not much. We're buried in like 2 feet of snow, and I
know you guys
in the playoffs. So Kansas City's got a lot going on right now.
I was waiting for that comment. Yes. So, do you know of Winnipeg at all, Sean? Because I'm straight north of you.
I do. I have a good friend up there, and I'm actually my mom's from Canada, Saskatchewan area, so I'm generally familiar with some
yeah. Because I know there's similarities between Kansas City and Winnipeg, Midwest and flat, and we have our snow. And so, did you guys get big part of the snow dump? Is that what it was?
Oh, we got like 2 feet. Yeah,
dude,
we just got a ton of snow. So my boys were out shoveling all day yesterday for like 9 hours.
Oh,
so
that's
all the neighborhood.
That's fun. Yeah. Well, listen, I'm really pleased you're able to join me today on the show here today. And I know we celebrated you a few weeks back with the Creator Spotlight. Surprised you, didn't we?
Yeah, I was like, all right, here we go. I'm in. You asked me to jump back in. I was like, great, let's do it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me, Keith. It's an honor to be here.
Absolutely. Yeah. So I would not expect you to tune into Jeffrey Johnson, man. If you man, the guy has a story. And
yeah, I just caught the last 10 minutes or so, but I was like, this is crazy, absolutely crazy. Just some of the stuff I was catching at the end.
Yeah, he lost his son, lost his wife, lost his mother, and his dog. But what I loved about his story, Jeffrey, is that he gave no reason to stop.
Yeah.
Right? And he always found a reason. And, when I created the show, I have been a guy that's been stuck. I've been a guy that woke up going, what the fuck am I going to do next? And I know there's guys like me. And, so we find guys like Jeffrey and like yourself to inspire others, right? So it's great to have Jeffrey on the show here today. So, but listen, it's all about you right now and about the Creator Spotlight. When I invited you on the show, I said, hey, there's got to be somebody in your orbit that is doing great work. And you're like, yeah, I want to celebrate that human. So I believe we said to you, Sean, is there somebody on the LinkedIn platform that we should celebrate, which we're going to get to in a second. But before we do that, let's cut some content for you. What does Sean Blanc do over in the real world of life? And what pays the bills for Sean Blanc?
Over in the real world of life. Well, going on 20 years of marriage, actually this year we'll celebrate 20 years. So that's
nice.
top of mind. for me right now.
Nice.
But as far as like my day job and stuff, I work with small business owners to help them run their full-time business on a part-time schedule. So we do a lot of training around systems, asset building, margin, time management, and stuff like that for creators and small business owners.
So how has AI changed your world and your clients' world? Because we're hearing AI agents, we're hearing all these new tools to help small business owners get more things done. Is that a big part of your world today, especially with systems and processes, Sean?
A little bit. Like we're more like upstream from a lot of the stuff that AI solves for people. AI will solve a lot of downstream problems if you're clear on what matters most or you're clear on the processes. A lot of the folks that I work with, they have those upstream problems of they don't actually know what matters most for them right now, either with their business or their life, or they're just completely overwhelmed because they're the bottleneck for everything within their business.
Yeah.
So a lot of that is first we're making decisions about what you should or should not be doing with your business or with your schedule and things like that. And then AI is more downstream. It can bring a lot of efficiencies, simplify things and streamline, but we're more upstream with solving the bigger questions first.
So I love your quote on your profile here. Systems for busy founders and entrepreneurs who want to run their businesses on a part-time schedule.
Yeah.
Sean Blanc, do humans actually want to run their business on a part-time schedule?
Oh, well, a lot of do. Yeah. I mean, and when you think about it, the average CEO or the average small business owner works around 3,000 hours a year. The average full-time employee you're at 2,000 hours a year. That's 40 hours a week, 50 hours, 50 weeks a year. So most business owners are working 50% more than their employees. And a lot of it is just because you don't know what works within your business. And so even just trying to get down from doing 60 to 70 hours a week as a business owner, even just down to 35 to 30 feels like part-time.
Wow. No kidding. How's business been going for you? Good?
Oh, it's been great. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I think since the pandemic and we moved more towards the virtual stuff, we do a lot of stuff in person with communities. And that's just been a blast. So we do a lot of in-person retreats around the country. We do stuff in Colorado, Atlanta, Kansas City. And people are just craving more of that, the in-person stuff and the connection more than just information. And so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah. And Sean, how do you get your customers? Like, how do you get customers for your business?
We do SEO and then we do paid acquisition as well. So we do some advertising on Facebook and Instagram.
Interesting. I'm intrigued by a comment with SEO. Are you finding SEO changing as people are maybe not so much yet today, but you're certainly seeing, the shift from Google to ChatGPT and other.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I've been doing this for 14 years. SEO used to be very easy.
Yes.
All you had to do was have a blog and just post stuff and you had SEO and it was amazing. And now SEO, you've got to have a lot of strategy behind it. You've got to track stuff. You got to be intentional about it. It's a completely different game.
Yeah. And then we have AIO, right? Which is, it's funny because a couple weeks ago, Sean, I used the old ChatGPT for a search. And when I saw the response and I saw the YouTube video show up in ChatGPT, I was like, so for me, I'm a marketer too. I've been marketing my whole life too. It was like, okay, there's the game over now. I see how it all works because there was really no reason for me to go anywhere else, right? I had the whole answer there. I had the YouTube video there and it showed me as a marketer, the new economy. Because I'm like, all right, there you go. I know where I need to be and it's not where it was yesterday. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's changing everything on so many levels. I have a friend who got a huge gig because someone went into ChatGPT, said, hey, who is the best person in this field? And,
it popped up
for whatever reason, their name popped up and they didn't get this, huge client. It's just like, all right, there you go. It's completely changed the game.
All right, Sean, well, listen, let's get to why we have you here other than talking a little bit about you and your business. Sean, let's take the big old mornings in the lab spotlight, the big old creator spotlight, and Jimmy, let's start whirring it up here. And let's take a moment. You're going to give me the name. I'm going to put it into my old LinkedIner here, and then we're going to pop it up on the screen, and we're going to showcase that human being. So Sean Blanc, I got my keyboard ready. My fingers are ready. Who are we celebrating today on the Mornings in the Lab Creator Spotlight on behalf of Sean Blanc today?
All right, no pressure here.
No.
This is my new friend. His name's Jeff Felton.
All right, so here we go, Jimmy. We're doing it up here. And is it the digital marketing director, Jeff Felton?
No, I probably should have sent you a link in advance, huh?
Yeah. Or is he the chief executive officer of Vareco?
Neither of those.
Oh.
Jeff is a newsletter ghostwriter and newsletter strategist.
Okay. Let's see here if we can find the right Jeff Felton here this morning in the lab so we can celebrate Jeff. If not, we are going to find him a little bit later. No, so I do not have Jeff Felton. How did you meet Jeff, Sean?
Okay, let me see if I can get his profile over to you guys here in the chat.
Awesome. There we go. Jimmy, Sean's going to drop over the. So how did you meet? Sean,
Well, Jeff, I met Jeff through Twitter. So just the joy of the internet.
Yes.
And we worked with Jeff about a year ago because, as I mentioned, we're doing a lot of customer acquisition through Facebook and paid traffic in that regards. And so we're getting people that were coming in that we're paying for, but then if you're familiar with marketing and sales funnels and all that stuff, all of our stuff down the line was just not working well. So we were wasting a lot of money on ads. So Jeff has this whole sequence for how to welcome your customers, how to actually introduce yourself well. It was kind of new for me in terms of the paid traffic stuff. So we took Jeff's frameworks and templates, we applied them to our email funnels, and immediately saw like almost a 2x boost in our revenue post subscribers coming in through the paid traffic. So we worked with Jeff on some other stuff, and then he actually worked with us, and we went through, I did a trade with him where he went through and did our business training stuff for the upstream core values for your business, how to run your time better. And then he did some consulting for us with our email welcome sequences. So he's just been a delight to work with. Really sharp guy, knows a lot about storytelling, knows a lot about building trust with your customers. So if you're doing anything online and you're trying to tell a story and you're trying to build trust and actually build relationships with the folks that are coming your way, Jeff is a great spot to go to.
Dude, you know what, Sean, I might be able to use a Jeff Felton myself, actually. So I think what you might be doing to me is introducing me to maybe somebody who could be helping me with my business here. So
I love it. He's a great guy. Awesome.
Email marketing coach, for solopreneurs. And so let's just get into it. So you saw him on Twitter. Because often folks are like, well, how do you find somebody? Did Jeff post something which made you kind of go, aha, I want that. I want to.
You know how it works? Like with the algorithms now, I hardly even see anyone that I actually follow anymore. It's everyone's getting serviced. But then the advantage of that is that I'm introduced to people like Jeff or folks that I wouldn't have otherwise come across, where they just start showing up in the feed. And again, this was a little over a year ago. So he's just kind of showing up in my feed. I started tracking with some of his stuff, and he goes, hey, I've put together this new structure, some templates for how to welcome subscribers to your email list if you have an email list. And we had one, and I've been writing emails, and I've been writing stuff online since 2006 or 7 or so. So I'm like, well, I'm not new to this space, but I bet I've got something to learn. I know we can make things better. So we, bought his package of kind of templates and outline structure, and then we applied our stuff to it, and it worked great. It's like, oh, this is much better. And so he and I just kind of started chatting, and I sent him some case studies of like, hey, I used your stuff and I saw this huge return. It's been really valuable. I'm getting more replies to my emails now. Really grateful. And then we just stayed in touch. And then I was like, hey, I'm doing this thing for businesses. Do you want to do a trade? I could use some of your consulting to help even take some of our stuff to a better level with this email and the storytelling. And I'll work with you on your schedule and your business stuff. And so we've been working together on that. That's been really great.
Jeff Felton, we're celebrating here this morning, my friend. Sean Blanc took a moment out of his day to join me on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends to celebrate you, Mr. Felton. And hey, as a result, we want to pay it forward. Jeff, we'd love to have you on the show to take somebody in your orbit to celebrate, somebody in your world for the Creator Spotlight. So, Jimmy, we're here to celebrate Jeff Felton here this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. That is awesome. Hey, Sean, quickly before we wrap up with Jeff, was there one thing that when you talked to Jeff, because you're a marketer too, and I love when I meet with guys like yourself and we all learn things from each other. Was there one thing that Jeff said where you're like, oh, fuck you, like an aha moment? Or maybe there wasn't one. What was it? I got to hear it.
The best way to, I've sensed, like, how when you're like looking for a certain car that you've never seen, and then suddenly you're in the market for it, and then you start to see it everywhere.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. So Jeff kind of first introduced me to this a little over a year ago, and now I see it everywhere. And it's this idea of, if you got to bridge the gap with the customer journey, and you've got initial content when they're brand new to you that, like, okay, I'm introduced to this person. So now they're aware.
Yes.
The final piece of the content is the selling, where you're like, hey, I want you to, sign up for this, or jump in or buy this or whatever. But there has to be this bridge in between of the conversion content, where you're helping people to understand, like, it's one thing to be aware of this person, but it's another thing to understand, oh, I have a problem that this person can help me solve. And Jeff really opened my eyes to some of that conversion material of sharing the stories, sharing the behind the scenes, sharing more information around here's the problem that I actually solve, and here's what your life looks like when that is solved. And being able to offer some of that before moving right into the sale and going, hey, would you like to buy this thing or sign up for this program or whatever it is?
So you did a really wonderful job of top of the funnel stuff. You were doing a really wonderful job with the bottom of the funnel stuff, but what you were missing at, and I think in some ways maybe what I'm missing at is taking the gap between you meeting me, then you knowing what I'm offering you, but you not understanding what I can solve for you in the middle. Is that correct, Sean?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's middle of the funnel, basically.
Yeah, interesting. Yep. That's great stuff. Well, Sean Blanc, thanks for celebrating Jeffrey this morning on Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. Jeff, we're celebrating you. Come on and hang out with us in the lab here. And at this point, we're going to start to wrap it up on the lab here this morning. Sean, is this your first time tuning in? And was it your first time exposed to us when we celebrated you a couple weeks back?
It sure was. Brand new. First time listener.
Have you had a chance to tune in since then?
I have not. Well, I was on Christmas vacation for 2 weeks.
There you go. There you go.
So I literally came back in the office yesterday. So I'm brand new.
Awesome. Well, I invite you to subscribe. I invite you to keep tuning in. We've created a morning show experience for men. I get up every single day, Monday to Friday, to create a morning show for men to help guys like you, guys like me, guys like Jeffrey, to help us reach our big, audacious goals and get through challenges. And we talk feelings, we talk emotions, we talk goal setting, we talk accountability here in Mornings in the Lab with Keith and Friends. And we're going to wrap it up here, Sean. So what do you got on the agenda today, pal?
Today we're doing, I do a lot of goal setting stuff as well. We have a program, it's called Plan Your Year, and we got a bunch of folks in our community. We're doing it live together later this afternoon. We're going through that.
Nice.
So it'll be fun hosting that.
Beautiful. Well, listen, I thank you for joining me here today in the lab. You have yourself a great day, and we'll see you in the LinkedIn feeds, okay? We're going to cut some content up for you, and I'll send it over to you today, and if you want to share it over on the platform, that'd be awesome. And you come back and hang out with us again, okay?
Awesome. Thanks, Keith. It was a pleasure to be here. Honor to meet you as well.
Awesome. All right, Sean. All right, Jimmy. We're gonna walk Sean out of the lab, and we're gonna work towards wrapping up our show here, Mr. Jimmy. All right, guys. The big show here today is starting to wrap up. Yes, it is. We have going on 2 hours here today, Jimmy. I see Jeffrey Johnson still there in the green room hanging out. But we're going to wrap up today's show. Listen, if you're just tuning in now, big show. Go back to the top of the hour. We kicked in with some fun for the first 50 minutes of the loop. The unpredictable content that you won't get anywhere else. We talked about why our men's penis size is getting bigger in the last 25 years. Yeah, they are. True story. We talked about that. We also talked about those black utensils that we have in our kitchen that might not be as bad as the article that was published a couple weeks ago told us that they were. So I would invite you guys to look for facts instead of running towards what we don't know are facts. We invited Jeffrey Johnson into the lab. We talked with Jeffrey about his tragedy going through life, how he turned tragedy into opportunity, and how he has basically killed life since then. Scott Benzie, I appreciate you hanging out with us this morning. I saw you here on the show. You hung out for the most of the time. Scott, love some feedback, brother. So Scott, listen, I would invite you to drop some comments wherever you can get a hold of me. I'd love to hear your feedback on the show, what you're liking, what you're not liking, and so forth. And that goes for all of you. So all of you that are tuning in right now, I would love to hear what you're enjoying, what you're not enjoying, and give us some feedback on the show so we can keep making it better. Listen, we go live here Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern time, LinkedIn, YouTube, X, every other planet. You got the guy on the road, Keith Bilous from Mornings in the Lab. We're going to be back here tomorrow, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Myself, Jimmy, producer. We got Tommy in the comments. We got the whole team showing up for you guys. Listen, Jimmy, we got to go, man. I got to go over to the bathroom. I've been standing for 2 hours. I'm starting to do the pee dance. Yeah, you know the pee dance? Yeah, that's it. So there's the segment. Walking me out of the lab, just over there. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Garino, thanks for joining, brother. We'll see you guys in the morning. Jimmy, let's get out of here, pal. Get me out of here.